Well, it's okay because you're a good driver.
I'm not that good.
This is fantastic. It's the best looking P1 interior I've ever seen. What we're doing with this car is we're trying to make the fastest McLaren ever made.
So this behind me is the Mclaren P1, bought by Freddy Tavarish after it was laid waste in a hurricane, and he bought it for quite a lot of money. He's now restoring it, and it is a mammoth task. You may have seen it floating around on the internet. Here he is, working on the car.
Hello,
Freddy.
how are you, man?
Yeah, great to see you, mate.
Come on, bring it in.
Dude, this is the beast. Obviously, it's not finished.
No, it's done. Let's get in. Let's go for a drive.
Well, there's no steering wheel. And,
well, it's okay because you're a good driver.
I'm not that good.
Okay.
Unless we get it on a really steep hill and maybe go down the Goodwood hill climb or something like this.
Yeah, so it is not finished. I wanted people to see what it's like in a project car state, and right now this is the most project car I can bring. Now this is all the exposed carbon tub, but we do have the brand new interior. And this was made by a company called E3, actually a guy named Matt at E3 Customs, and this is fantastic. It's the best looking P1 interior I've ever seen, and what we're doing with this car is quite special. So I like to modify my cars. I know in the UK you guys can modify your cars a little bit. I like to modify them a lot of bit.
Yeah.
You know? So what we're doing with this car is we're trying to make the fastest McLaren ever made.
Yep.
And right now that's a McLaren Speedtail, does about 250 miles an hour.
Okay.
This we should do 260, maybe 270. So, you know.
It's going to be epic. That was one of my questions. I mean, McLaren are known for making things that are quite fast.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for 60 years.
Yeah.
This is their pinnacle technology. It's based on all their Formula One tech. You know, it was an homage to the racing days, the heydays of the 80s. You had the MP4, and then this is like an evolution in a way of the MP4.
Yes.
The P1 was their ultimate car. You know, all of the great minds of McLaren Automotive went into making the P1 as good as they could possibly make it.
Yes.
And you're doing this.
And now my mind is
in a shed.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
just in my little garage. So we are removing the hybrid drive assembly. Now I know that for a lot of people that is like a controversial thing because that's like the soul of the P1 and it's what makes the car the car. I think the ethos of this car was a spiritual successor to the Mclaren F1, and that's my ultimate money no object dream car. And for that car, it was all about power to weight ratio. You know, it had a lot of power and very little weight. And if we take out the hybrid drive assembly, the batteries, the actual motor and everything else, that saves about 200 kilos. And this is already a lightweight car. Every single piece is carbon fiber. There's no plastic anywhere.
So it was 1490 kilograms, wasn't it, at the beginning?
Yeah, something like that. Okay. So you take away 200 from that. That's quite substantial.
Yes.
And then we're going to work on the engine. So the engine is not your garden variety P1 engine, which put out about 727 horsepower just on the engine. This one's going to be 1300 at the wheels. So it's about 1500 crank.
On the same was it 3.8 V8?
It used to be a 3.8. This one's a 4-liter. So
because you've expanded it.
Yeah. So we have essentially it's just a longer stroke.
Yeah.
So this is a 720 spec engine, and then we've put forged rods, forged pistons, different valve train, you know, everything to make this 1300 and then rev to 9000. So you know we need that extra rev range for the extra speed.
Yeah. That's incredible. So you'll get 1300 out of that V8. One of the things I think that's amazing with this, because they wanted this to be a driver's car.
Yeah.
I think what was it? Their goal was to be the best road and track car of all time. But it's rear-wheel drive.
It is rear-wheel drive.
Even though it was set up as a hybrid, you would expect it to have been four-wheel drive, but it's not.
Right? That's the other thing. So if the hybrid had just driven the front wheels and given it some grip out of corners or something, that would have been one thing. But literally, the all it does is provide another 170 horsepower to the rear wheels, which we can do with turbos because turbo technology has gotten better. And I'm actually having the turbos built by a company called Tachyon. They are the company that originally made the P1 turbos.
Right.
So we're making bespoke turbos from this car. And Cannonball Garage, they are the company that makes all the really high horsepower engines for McLarens. So like these guys know their stuff. they have their engine in my 675 LT, which makes a ton of power, and this is going to make a lot of power indeed.
So that answers the question. You're not doing it on your own. You've brought in all the best minds from the field that know this car really well to make it and reimagine. So that weight you've saved, where were the batteries originally? I can't remember.
So the batteries actually sat right here. They sat pretty high up in the car. So if we remove the batteries, which was a lot of weight, we actually lower the center of mass. So that'll just make the car handle better, and it's less weight, so it'll be faster.
There's no getting around the thing. The thing my mind keeps getting back to is this car bobbing around in the water, being smacked around with palm trees and sand and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, have you managed to get all that crap out?
So yes and no. The problem is, anytime you have sand in a car, you're going to be digging it out for the next 25 years.
Because I noticed some when someone opened the door, a little bit more came out.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we've dry iced this car. We've not sandblasted it, but we've hit it with air. We've hit it with pressure washers dozens of times, and I'm literally saying dozens of times. And there's still a little bit of sand that comes out of here or there.
So it's character.
Yeah, it's character. There you go. It's just a little bit of grit, you know, a little bit of literal grit. So another thing we're doing is it's going to have a bespoke body. And the body is going to be very slightly different than a regular road-going P1. We managed to marry like a GTR body and a road car body, and we're calling it the P1 Evo.
Right.
So we have a little bit more aero on the front. We don't have any canards, but we're still utilizing the front bumper from the road car, so it gives it a lower aero profile. And then with the rear clamshell, that's going to be GTR spec, but we're going to still use the wing. So it can still do the DRS, it can still go down for a lower aero profile, and then if you put it in race mode, it lifts up 12 inches and does the air brake thing. So that was really important to me, and also I think it looks different than any other McLaren in the world.
So the key aero will stay, like the amazing diffuser that works, all that will
all that stuff. And one thing that people don't know, it actually has active aero on the bottom. There are two little flaps that come out at speed. So if you press that DRS button, it just makes it all super flat on the bottom.
I didn't know that, because it's incredibly. I mean, this is adaptive technology, isn't it? The suspension is adaptive. The wings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how much of that survived the original, car?
So everything here is original. We had all the hydraulic lines for suspension powder coated, and I did it in gold as an homage to the McLaren F1, which again is my favorite car of all time. And this doesn't have any sway bars connecting any of the wheels. It's all hydraulic, so this goes up, down. It can adjust each wheel individually. It's really, really cool, and it's bespoke to this car.
So I've never driven one of these.
Yeah.
Would you maybe, when it's finished, is there a chance maybe I could get my hands on this to have a little try?
So I would love for you to drive it, but I think when you drive this, we should have a stock one to compare it to. So you can go, wow, this is really good, and then you get in mine, you go, what have you done? Why have you ruined this car?
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
So I drove the MP4, and I felt that that hydraulic suspension, the way it's using fluid to manipulate the weight and to control the weight transfer, was like nothing else I'd ever tried. And it was as a direct comparison with a Ferrari 458, which I love. It's just unique. It gives you a special feeling.
Absolutely.
It feels like a really high-end, sophisticated ride.
Yeah, and this is just taken to the nth degree, you know?
So with all that, the calibration in the damping and everything like that, you've kept that?
Yes, all that's going to be the same. We're going to have a different, we're going to call it velocity mode, just like the McLaren does on the Speedtail, and that will lower the car down and probably lower the wing down just to give it, make it as slippery as possible.
Yeah. I hate to notice things like this, but this is what would worry me, that the scale of the project you've undertaken, and small things like, I mean, there's a little bit of rust there on the hydraulic element of the wing.
Well, we can probably sand that off.
Is that a little bit of a problem?
I think
because this is important. When that moves, it's
we're
downforce.
So one of the things I'm mainly concerned about is safety.
Yeah.
So every time we put bolts in, for the final time, we torque them down as per factory. We mark all of them off, like exactly how McLaren from the factory would do it. We measure things out. We have lasers to do all that stuff. Before we do any sort of top speed runs, we're gonna put it in a wind tunnel, both simulated and a real one. Yep. And then we're gonna see what it does. We're gonna put it on a dyno to see if it actually can reach the speeds, without any air resistance. Yep. So there's a lot of testing that goes on before that. Yep. I'm not just like, oh yeah, we turned the engine on, let's go for it, let's do it. It's these are crazy amounts of energy, so I want to make sure that everything is as safe as possible.
So one of the curious things with this car was the power steering and the way that they use is it electro, hydraulic?
Yes, it's electric over hydraulic, yeah.
So you get that feedback and feel. And that also powers this hydraulic system that transfers the fluid around.
Yes, so there's a hydraulic pump that goes through everything. Yeah. And then this is its own system, so it has this little reservoir and a pump right here.
Okay, so that will remain. You're going to put that back in?
Yeah, everything,
back in.
All the chassis control is exactly the same as a standard P1.
But there's a big difference. So it's a big weight saving, but the power delivery is going to be a lot different.
Yes.
So the bonus of the hybrid, which like I said, I've not driven it, but from what I was able to understand, that electric power fills in for where the turbos aren't working. So
exactly.
I guess you're going to try and, I would imagine you would try and
well
into the power curve.
The good thing about it is not only has battery technology increased, but turbo technology has changed since the time of this. So they used a quite
2013, isn't it?
Yes, but they developed it in like 2010. So they used essentially Mitsubishi turbochargers, like the center cartridge, and then they modified everything else.
Yeah.
So what we can do is we have better wheel technology. Like we can make sure that there's boost on demand, and also we have more displacement to play with.
Yeah.
So you get rid of that turbo lag there. So I don't think we're going to have any issues there.
Yeah.
It's not going to be instant torque, but you're going to forget about any of that stuff whenever the torque hits, because I mean this is just going to be a monster.
I can't wait to try it. I mean, you look at the enormity of the task, but actually you've broken it down into so many different ways, but very respectful of what this thing originally was.
Oh, absolutely. And I always wanted this car to be like if McLaren had a Skunk Works division, and they just gave them a little bit of budget, what could they come up with?
Yeah.
And I think this kind of light and stripped down, like just balls to the wall type build, I think this is something that they would appreciate.
So right, clock's ticking. How long is this going to take you?
I mean, end of the week. You wanna stick around? Yeah, it's fine. I got all my parts in the truck. Yeah, Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. Friday maybe if we have a break.
When did you start?
I started in January, so I got the car in January. I think by springtime, I should be running and driving mostly complete. We want to have a running car by Christmas. Okay. So that'll be, that's still a major hurdle.
Yes.
The engine's in the car, but we still have a lot of wiring work to do. So that's going to be fun.
So I imagine the loom was dead.
No, so we took out the loom, and other than corrosion, we cleaned all the corrosion that we could. And realistically, the loom is actually okay for the most part. But I have two other looms. They're from a company called AZ Cycle Parts, so I got them from different cars. So if I had to repin anything, I have new connectors.
Right. It's amazing. So would you say that the real grunt work you've done?
No, it's still up at all the integration stuff. So now we get into a point where it's called integration hell.
Right.
So now we're doing the custom bits. Now it's when things don't fit, and they're and it's like building a Lego, but all the pieces you make yourself.
Yeah. I think it's amazing what you're doing. So I mean, it's mind blowing.
Me?
Yeah.
Do you know what you do for a living?
I just drive. Drive.
Oh yeah.
Around.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Understatement of the year. Okay.
It's engineers like you that make this stuff work.
Yeah.
And I think that to come in and reimagine what was already an incredible project is
well,
super.
I can't tell you how much of an honor it would be for me to have you drive this car when it's done.
Whenever
I mean, I would literally cry if you did that.
Right. Well, I'm there. Name the place and the time, and I'll
Wonderful.
see you. And thank you for
Awesome,
talking me through
Thank you.
your baby, and I wish you the best of luck.
Awesome.
We'll see you at the track.
Awesome.
So Freddy obviously knew what he was getting into when he bought his P1. If you're shopping online, you're looking for a supercar or a McLaren, make sure you do it the safe way. Download the Car Vertical app, plumb in the details, the VIN number, the license plate, so you can check the mileage is correct and it hasn't been through an awful experience like this McLaren 720S that's been practically destroyed and written off. It's been set on fire. The front and the rear clip practically destroyed in some sort of horrific accident, and it's there online. You wouldn't know unless you checked out the history. So use my discount, 10% off using Ben Collins Drives, plumb that into the app, put in the details and make sure you're buying the safe way so that your car doesn't lose value. Unless you're a mechanical genius like Freddy, you can put it all back together again. Buy safe and use Car Vertical.